Have you ever been drunk or high and came up with this truly amazing idea but then became sober and realized it wasn't as amazing as you thought it was? If so, what was the idea? Turn signals on grocery carts. I once had the idea to have 2 left turn signals on a car. One for a regular left turn, and a different one to indicate you were going to do a U-turn. I have no idea why this made so much sense at the time, but for the rest of that night I legit thought I was a genius. I made a soup sandwich while really high before. The soup obviously just destroyed the bread's integrity, and just fell out the sandwich. That was the first time in my life I realized just how dumb I am. Don't be so hard on yourself. I mean, bread bowls exist. Basically the same thing. You would enjoy French onion soup. It's both a soup and a cheese sandwich. King Kong but with a giraffe. They said ideas that aren't still great when you sober up though. King Long. Okay, hear me out. Go to your local bar and get plastered. Then go to Lens Crafters and get your eyes checked. They will fix your double and blurry vision and give you a pair of glasses. So when you get drunk again you can put on your, wait for it, drunk goggles. Do you have a Kickstarter? Magnificent. I thought it would be practical if you would have a tag with your address written on it attached to your keys, so if you ever lost them they can be sent back. Seemed brilliant to me. Thieves might enjoy this idea as well. My bank does something cool that solves that problem, a keychain with a dog tag that has a specific code that the bank registers to your address. If you lose your keys, anyone who sees them can throw them in a mailbox and they'll be sent back to you. My parents have a password book that is called What the Fuck Is My Password, and they wrote their names in the front of the book so if they lost it people could return it. That's almost certainly not how that would work. Once, while thoroughly drunk, I ordered a pizza and it arrived overcooked. Crust was like dried asphalt and the toppings blackened and singed. So I pitched the idea to my other drunk buddies that pizza places should let their customers control the pizza ovens through the internet, so we can decide when it's done. Which then lead to an entire design your own pizza machine/website combo, where one could control exactly how much of each ingredient to add using robotic arms and you could watch it cook live through an oven cam. Seemed brilliant at the time. So like, making your own pizza? When a football match goes into extra time, they should add a second ball. If it gets to halftime without anyone scoring they add a third ball. I'm actually not sure this idea is a bad one. Bobby, you can't solve every problem using pinball logic. Multiball. Multiball. I was on acid and had a revelation that I had to make the next Google. I have no idea what it means to be the next Google, but regardless it felt like the best idea in the world. The feeling of checking my notes app the next day for the grand idea I had and seeing be the next Google was hilarious. What you really need is some kind of hot tub time machine. My ex, also on LSD, kept saying it'll be a way for people all over the world to interact and be connected. Bruh, it's called the internet, it already exists and we used it to find this insomnia cookies. Rolling eyes face. Beer rocks. When drinking at an outdoor place, using plastic cups, you put fancy rocks in your beer so the cups don't blow over. Genius. Mine was similar. The theory was, the top half of the cup of beer tastes better than the bottom half, so we make cups that have the bottom half already full of something else. We invented smaller cups. I don't think we should be giving drunk people projectiles. I was thinking that kids these days need more time on the road to be better drivers, so maybe Uber should partner with driving education groups and like subsidize them or pay the kids in college bonds or whatever. Yeah, maybe hiring a bunch of terrible drivers for your taxi services isn't such a great idea. Lol, this is great. Hi, my name's Kyle, I'm 14, this is my mom, so where you headed today? Once while high my friends came up with an online call center for people who have anxiety while high to call. It was named TripAdvisor. These exist and do good around the globe. r/tripsit.me etc. My father, in the early 1980s, got very drunk one night and came up with the idea of a 1-800 call center that would be staffed by operators dedicated to telling the callers what stores had sales that day and which stores were accepting coupons. When I reminded him of his idea when he sobered up, he got the most hilarious look on his face. But how would you make money doing that? Once while high my friends came up with an online call center for people who have anxiety while high to call. It was named TripAdvisor. Reminds me of the guy in 30 Rock who kept coming up with business names that already exist. Sugar bags. Like tea bags but for sugar. Tea and 2 sugars? 1 tea bag, 2 sugar bags. As we were stoned as fuck, my cousin holding up an emptied tea bag filled with sugar and me trying to carefully tie it back up with a piece of cotton, my cousin disappointingly says sugar cubes. HMH, What if you made Prazuger tea bags? Haha, that's fucking gold. Yep. Pre-melted cheese. Hear me out. We melt the cheese then freeze it. Then anytime you want melted cheese you just pop it in the microwave for a couple of minutes. Well, on paper, that's kinda what Cheese Whiz is. And, in French at least, Kraft Singles packages indicates that it's a produit de fromage fondu, which translates to melted cheese product. So, yeah, not a bad idea at all it seems. I had this idea that the Taken films should each focus on a different set of skills. Like Liam Neeson could be an amazing chef in Taken 2, and perhaps a postman in Taken 3. Honestly, this sounds like a much better version of what we got. But I still wanted to involve saving a kidnapped person somehow. If you want an action chef, look no further than Under Siege 1 and 2. Usually I make big plans that cost a lot of money and then promise sober people that we will do them. So they start to look forward to the plans, I sober up, and regret all of my decisions yet still have to follow through. Most recent was that I promised my sister that I'd bring my daughter to visit her in Florida. $2,000 later, I have a sunburn. Always do sober what you said you do drunk. That will teach you to keep your mouth shut. Ernest Hemingway. Most recent was that I promised my sister that I'd bring my daughter to visit her in Florida. $2,000 later, I have a sunburn. Mad respect for following thought. A food truck specializing in egg rolls the size of burritos. I once thought edible tape would be a game changer idea. For when your burrito, or huge egg roll, rips, just tape it back up with edible tape. You're in the wrong thread. This is a good idea. While taking what I thought was acid and turned out to be a 25 mg, I was beyond confident that I had not only finally understand the truest, deepest secret of the universe, but that I had distilled the idea into an image that could be drawn out. I was certain that with that image I could remember everything about the true universal secrets when I came down. The next day I looked at the paper, and it was a line with a circle on each end, like a dumbbell. I have no idea what it means. When taking DMT on acid I had a trip where I flew into space, saw the entire universe on a cosmic wall, and heard what the meaning of life was. When I opened my eyes I wrote down the meaning to life in my phone. After sobering up I looked at my notepad and all I wrote down was walls. I have a running note on my phone with my ideas I have while intoxicated. I think my best one is what if there was a Queer Eye spin-off called Third Eye where hippies and conspiracy theorists try to awaken people who are already happy with their lives. Most of them are just dumb with such highlights as future math will be cool and there's a lot of cute animal behavior. I love it, would 100% watch. Would this be like What Not to Wear and their friends and family secretly film them and enter them in the show and then Third Eye comes and gives them a forcible conspiracy makeover? Everyone ends up in cult wear and their house is redecorated with tinfoil wallpaper. One of my philosophy professors told a joke about a philosopher having a dream in which he met Socrates, but quickly saw the proper rebuttal to his views, which Socrates conceded. Then he met Aristotle, and Descartes, and Kant, and Nietzsche, and Mill, and with each of them presented his contrary position successfully. He knew he was dreaming, but he thought I have to wake up enough to write this down. He managed to become conscious enough that he quickly scrawled the words down on some paper, then fell asleep again. The next morning he woke up, remembered what had happened, and excitedly grabbed the note. It read, "Yeah, that's what you say.